seconds to do that. Thank you. Rule number 2, please avoid walking around the room or leaving while a speaker is on stage, as that can be discouraging or distracting. So if you really must leave the room, please do so while an applause is going on. And rule number 3, while Toastmasters provides us with a platform where we can express ourselves freely, there are a few sensitive or controversial topics like sex, religion, politics, etc., that should not be spoken about. Or if you want to speak about them, put them in a way that nobody is offended by it. Now, that being said, I would like to hand it over to the presiding officer, Toastmaster Binitha.
So good evening, everyone. I'm Binitha. I'm the presiding officer for today's meeting. All right. So before we start the meeting, let me officially declare the meeting open. I declare meeting 292 open. With that, let me state the club mission. We provide a supportive and a positive learning environment where members are empowered to develop their leadership and communication skills, which resulting in a greater self-confidence and personal growth. All right. Quick announcements. The JTP forms are released out. For those who are not aware what a JTP form is, it's basically judges training program. All right, where the judges will be trained for the speech contest, and I request all the members to register for it. If that is not appealing enough, you'll get free food. And before we start, we have few guests attending the meeting. Let's just quickly introduce them.
I'm Janani. I'm from CSE department.
My name is Mahadi, and I am also from the CSE department.
Hello, Janani, and hello, Mahadi.
My name is Chandrahas. I am from EAC department.
My name is Nagateja. I am from second year EAC department.
That mission is stated, right? Anyways, moving on. First of all, thank you all the guests for attending the meeting. Let me just state the structure of the meeting. Usually we'll be having 3 segments, but today we have a speech marathon where the members will be giving speeches according to their objectives. All right. So with that, let's move on to the theme of the meeting. One speech to rule them all, right? And when I, just saw the theme, it speaks Rohan, who is the TMOD of the day, right? And this is about a Lord of the Rings, if I'm not wrong, Frodo, who had a story that could move mountains. Now, I cannot wait to see what Rohan, Toastmaster Rohan, has in store for us. Over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, there lived a singular planet on the edge of the system, known as Far Earth. There, it was created by this grand being known as the Evaluator, the creator of life itself. He started by creating 4 angels to sing songs to him. Unfortunately, the 14th one created a rebellion, and he became known as the first Dark Lord. The first Dark Lord invaded Middle-earth with its cursed armies and lay plunder, didn't allow for the greenery to rise, for the place to develop. Then came the Valar, the remaining 13 angels. They came in the form of elves, men, dwarves. They reinforced the existing life on Middle-earth, and they won the first war. Unfortunately, even though the first Dark Lord was defeated, he had multiple followers who continued to lay waste to Middle-earth. Now that's where our story comes, 3,000 years after the First War. The second Dark Lord, whose name was Sauron, invaded and created 21 rings, known as the Rings of Power, to influence the people living on Middle-earth. He decided with a less militaristic strategy and one of corruption, where the rings would corrupt everyone's soul. Now, when the plot was finally revealed, and the last ring, known as the 22nd ring, known as the one ring to rule them all, was created, it brought in a new era of darkness. However, again, just like the First War, everyone came in and beat him. Now, in his dying moments, after the one ring to rule them all was destroyed, he wrote with his dying words, the one speech to rule them all, on ink as dark as the hell itself. However, this speech, known for its mysterious circumstances, disappeared. Now, 3,000 years later, it's a peaceful time. However, darkness grows in the distance. Now, before our fellowship can start their adventure, we need to look at the origins of this fellowship, known as Toastmasters International. Created many ages ago by a great scholar by the name of Ralph C. Smedley, who founded Toastmasters International on the 22nd of October in 1924. He began as a humble gathering for peasants, for sellswords, to depart knowledge. However, it went on to become a grand army of over 280,000 members with 144 clubs and outposts spread across the 144 countries of Middle-earth. Today, it brings us hope and knowledge. Now, I'd like to introduce our GE for the day, Toastmaster Somesh, who's going to depart lots of knowledge for us. He says he does not trust anyone who likes The Office over Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Toastmaster Somesh.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rohan. That's a really good theme. I'm looking forward to it. So I'll be a general evaluator for a day. And this is the first time in general evaluating and speech marathon. Nice. Looking forward to it. So before that, I will introduce my lovely tag team. First, I have Pavithra, who says, I require a pillow to get through lab classes. I mean, every computing student will agree with it. So Toastmaster Pavithra, everyone.
Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As timer, I'll time the table topic speakers, formal speeches, and the evaluations. I'll also alert each speaker of the time they've left using the green, yellow, and red cards, which denote specific times remaining. Prepared speeches should be of 5 to 7 minutes in length. At 5 minutes, I'll raise the green card. At 6 minutes, I'll raise the yellow card. And at 7 minutes, I'll raise the red card. The individual evaluations should be between 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I'll raise the green card. At 2 minutes 30 seconds, I'll raise the yellow card. And at 3 minutes, I'll raise the red card. Thank you, and over to the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pavithra. Now I call on a linguist, Toastmaster Dedeepya, who says, thinking of an intro is stressful. So over to Toastmaster Dedeepya, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. So I'll be your linguist for the day. And as your linguist, I'll be your counter as well as the grammarian. And as your counter, my purpose is to note the words and sounds that are used as a crutch or a pause filler by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will listen for overused words, including and, well, but, so, and you know. I will also listen for filler sounds, including I will also note when a speaker repeats a word or phrase such as I, or this means, this means. At the end, I will be back with the report for the R counter. And for the grammarian's report, I will be responsible to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take notes of any improper language as well as any outstanding words, quotes, or sayings or thoughts. As grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. For today's meeting, the word is resolute, which means admirably purposeful, determined, or unwavering. And an example for this word is she remained resolute in her decision to take the stage despite the nerves. And for the idiom of the day, it's make a move, which means to take action or initiate. Example is, it was only when he finally made a move that things fell into place. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day and the idiom of the day, and every time anybody notices a speaker using the idiom and the word of the day, I would recommend you to show a thumbs up. And I'll be back with the grammarian's report and the R counter's report at the end of the meeting. Back to the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmasters Dedeepya. Now for my role as general evaluator, I'll be evaluating all the prepared speeches today as well as the evaluators. And towards the end, I'll also evaluate my tag team, which is the timer and the linguist. So I will see you all at the end of the meetings, and back to the TMOD, Toastmaster Rohan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sumesh. Now, 3,000 years have passed since the one speech to rule them all disappeared off of the face of far earth, until one day, by sheer luck, while fishing, a young hobbit by the name of Frodo Baggins fishes out a mysterious glass bottle with a parchment written inside. It's written in a foreign tongue that he cannot yet decipher. However, he decides to wait till further that day when his close friend and aide, Sandalf the Sand Wizard, decides to visit him for his 112th birthday. Now, as the party rages on, he has one of his best birthdays so far. He does not know that he's been granted a life of near immortality just by owning the one parchment. Now, as Gandalf visits him, he senses a dark aura present all around his house. Now, he asks him about it, and Frodo immediately thinks of the parchment and shows it to him. Gandalf is fear-struck, but he remains resolute in his behavior. He decides to tell the truth. That is the one speech written by the Lord Sauron 3,000 years ago, once muttered by him. Every single soul on the planet. Now, there's only one way to destroy evil of such bad nature. It's to burn it in the one place where it was written, the fires of Mount Doom. Now, Gandalf urges him to immediately set out with people he trusts closely on this quest of fellowship, bravery, and adventure. And now, we move on to our fellow questers and members of our own fellowship, our prepared speakers who wish to brave the odds and speak. I'd like to start with our first speaker of the day, Toastmaster Yashas. At first, I'd like to introduce his speaker, Toastmaster Amrita Kaur. Amrit Kaur. She has worked in corporates. She comes from a science background. But switched to arts and calls herself an artist now. She, uh, she works in the food industry with her husband and is a member of the Bangalore Toastmasters Club. I'd like to introduce Toastmaster Amrith Kaur. Toastmaster.
Hi. All right, so I would read the purpose for the project for the speaker. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice using vocal variety or body language to enhance the speech. Back to the team, Woody. Toastmaster Rohan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Amrith. I'd like to call upon Toastmaster Yashas, who says he is someone who is glad to be here after a while. The magical zone, Toastmaster Yashas. The magical zone, Toastmaster Yashas.
Hey bro, how you feeling? Nothing, man. What's up? Why do you sound so depressed? Nothing, bro. Just leave it. I feel so stuck in the zone. So what zone could he be talking about here? Is it the ozone? No, he's down here. Could it be the danger zone? No, then even I'd be with him. Or since he's depressed, it could be the friend zone. But unlike all these zones that I just mentioned, there's one zone that everyone really likes to be in, really enjoys being in. Could anyone take a guess? Correct, correct. No, no one likes being in the friend zone. Yeah, that's the correct answer. The comfort zone. So let me start telling about my first story when, at least what I can remember, stepping out of the comfort zone for the very first time. And so this goes way back when I was 5 years old. And I was just a small 5-year-old kid, like about this tall. And my parents had enrolled me for swimming classes. And this was in the summer, yes, but the swimming classes started very early at around 7:30, 8 o'clock. And it was absolutely freezing. And on day one, I show up and I'm wearing this cute, bright red swimming top, and I'm wearing this cute purple swimming cap, and I'm just standing there, and I'm not scared of water, by the way. I'm just scared of going in because I know it's so cold and I'm absolutely freezing over here. Anyways, then I walk up to the pool, and there I just stand, looking at the water, not afraid to go in because it's deep, but afraid to go inside because it's cold. Now, and then my friend arrives behind me. He could have said something really nice like, bro, it's not that deep, and pushed me in, like quite literally and figuratively. But no, he didn't say anything. He just pushed me. And then I fell into the water, and even though it was a struggle for a good second or two, it was absolutely cold. But after a while, I got used to it, and then it was fun. And then we waited for the coach to come. Now the story could end here. I overcame my fear of swimming in cold water, but no, this is just the beginning. Chapter number 2, my swim coach. So I see this guy, and you might assume he's taking classes for maybe 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds. He might be this nice, funny, haha, happy guy. Absolutely not. He's like this no-nonsense, strict army guy. Straight up, I thought he was from the army because he was so strict. And then so we're sitting over there just kicking our feet in the water. And then I'm the very first in line, and he tells me, okay, jump. And I'm just enjoying my warmth over here, and he's forcing me to jump into the water, and I'm just looking at him. And then he says, okay, don't jump. Take off your shirt. You won't be able to move your hands properly then. And I'm already freezing to death over here. I don't know what to do. And then he's forcing me to take my shirt off. Fine, I take my swim shirt off. I'm freezing even more right now. But then he forces me to jump, and without a thought, I just dive into the pool. There was the very first time, at least I can remember, stepping out of my comfort zone because I did not like swimming, especially in cold water. The fact that a 5-year-old me was forced into being pushed into cold water and then had to swim over there because I could not disobey the sir. I literally cried. Being a 5-year-old kid after coming out of the pool, I broke down. I did not want to go back there again, but guess what? My parents already paid, and I had to show up there the very next day. So this was my very first story when I was 5 years old, and now looking back at it, like the most recent one I could say was joining Toastmasters. That was the most recent way to step out of my comfort zone. And there's this fun little story to that as well. So I think it was the third or fourth day of our induction, and we were sitting in Krishna Hall, I think, or the hall next to it. And yeah, there we were. The session happened. It was pretty late, maybe 3:40 or at 4 o'clock, and we were already pretty tired. And then comes the table topic session. This was supposed to be the fun part of the open house. And I did not want to talk. I'm not comfortable talking. I was not comfortable talking back then. And I was already very exhausted from the week. And then, yeah, so the table topic start. Couple people go. And then then they started picking people, and they picked my friend. He went, he blabbered something on stage for a solid 2 minutes. And then he came back down. But because he had to go, he had to throw me down as well. So next time when they asked for volunteers, he forcefully raised my hands. And I'm already tired. I didn't even know what it was for. And then they tell me to come up on stage. I was a bit hesitant, but then I go anyways. And then I'm standing there on the stage, and then they give me my topic. It was thankfully, there are some table topics that you have thought about before. It happens to be a coincidence, but you have thought about it before. And thankfully, this was one of those. But I ended up speaking on stage anyways, ended up talking something for 2 minutes. And yeah, that was pretty fun. So stepping out of the comfort zone might we have this small zone over here, which is really nice. We are happy being in the zone. Nothing, there's no discomfort. We really enjoy there. Our happy people are there. Activities we like doing are there, like not jumping into cold water. But yeah, sometimes, just stepping out of the comfort zone or being pushed out of the comfort zone, to be more accurate, can teach you a lot about the new things you might not experience, and overall, you really become a different person. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Yashas. I'd like to call our next speaker for the day, Toastmaster Kanishka. But first, I'd like to introduce her evaluator for the day, Toastmaster Reha, who says that she loves to binge watch shows. Please welcome Toastmaster Reha, everyone.
Good evening, everyone, and special good evening to my target speaker, Toastmaster Kanishka. She's attempting her L1 in Level 1 Project 3 in the pathway Dynamic Leadership. Her purpose of the speech is for member to practice using vocal variety or body language to enhance the speech. Timer, please note that the timing is between 5 to 7 minutes. All the best, Toastmaster Kanishka. Thank you. Back to TM Modi, Toastmaster Rohan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Reha. Now I'd like to call upon Toastmaster Kanishka, who says that she's too freaked out to give out intros right now. I'd like to welcome Toastmaster Kanishka onto the stage. House of Secrets, Toastmaster Kanishka. Toastmaster Kanishka, House of Secrets.
Growing up in India, we've all heard stories, whether it be Panchatantra tales or ghost stories. Well, I've always grown up hearing to ghost stories. My grandmom was a huge fan of it. You all would have heard to these stories with one of those late night conversations with your cousins at family functions, at terrace tops, and all of these. We would have laughed at them, maybe enjoyed them, maybe feared them. But this story that I'm going to narrate today, it did not happen in a faraway land, in a forgotten village. No. It happened right here in the middle of India, Delhi, in the streets of Burari. Now, when I say Burari, one thing that sticks to your bones is it's a real story, as I've mentioned before. And when I say the word, does it ring a bell to anyone here? Okay, so one store, a small store in the streets of Burari that opens at 5 in the morning, was still unopened. There were crates of milk and groceries lying right outside the store, untouched. Now, Bhavnesh's neighbor, who takes a walk with him every morning as usual, noticed this was very unusual for what's happening there. As we all know, Delhi is quite chaotic and alive in the mornings. But that day, something was off. Something was eerie. He decided to walk up to Bhavnesh's house. Knock, knock, knock. There was no response. It was quiet, dead silent. He knew there was a way around the house, walks up the stairs, and stops dead in his tracks. What he saw there was something he did not account for. Early in the morning, 10 dead bodies hanging from an iron mesh ceiling. And to top it off all, there was one dead body on the floor of the 80-year-old woman, Narayani Devi, who was considered the head of the family. Now, Bhavnesh, of course, any human would freak out. He reported this to the police, and once they came and put their extensive investigation over this matter, they collected the CCTV footage and found 5 unusual things. They found more, but I'm just going to be naming the first 5 things that they thought was very unusual. Lalit's wife and Bhavnesh's daughter got in 5 to 10 stools. At the middle of the night, it was around 10:30, 11, and they got 5 to 10 stools inside the house. There was another person who got an electrical cable wires rounded upon his fingers, as if they were planning something. They ordered 20 rotis, which were actually left untouched, which was discovered by the police the next morning. Bhavnesh took his dog out for a walk, came back, locked his doors as if he was going to do nothing that night. Now, when police saw this footage, they thought maybe there was some forced invasion of robbery or something. But when they found the dead bodies, there was no signs of struggle. It looked very volunteer. It looked like someone tied it for them. Their hands tied, their mouths gagged, their eyes blindfolded. Now, if they really wanted to kill themselves, there would be some sort of struggle, but there was nothing. It just looked like they were voluntarily signing up for this. It looked like they were resolute to do this decision or to take this decision. Now, after this, the police found 11 diaries, somewhat like this, really small, 11 diaries stacked up in one corner with very unsettling notes in them. One that said how to jump from the stool, how to tie your hands, how to tie your eyes. And there was another note that said, Father will come and save us when the color of the water changes. Now that is where the case unfolded more. Who is this father? He passed away years back, and Lalit, the eldest son of the family, thought he was possessed by his father's soul, and his father was asking them to kill themselves so that he could come and save them and give them purity or salvation. I mean, we Indians, for purity, we think taking a dip in holy water was enough, but this family thought more. They did not think holy water was enough for them. Now, as I told, they left everything in the household just as it is, thinking they would come back to it. They would be saved within 2 minutes of killing themselves. But unfortunately, that is not what happened. Now, when you see Lalit and Bhavnesh's hands or neck, there were signs of struggle, a little bit of signs of struggle, where I think they realized that this was a stupid decision. That somewhere in the back of their head, they realized the gravity of the situation, the gravity of the decision that they've taken. But unfortunately, they were too late. Now, to describe the scene, they arranged themselves in the form of a banyan tree where Narayani Devi was lying down as she formed the roots of the family, and 10 members of the family arranged themselves in a triangular position that almost looked like the banyan tree. Now, all of this was clearly written in one of those diaries, which the police claimed to be Lalit's diary, with such detailed notes, with such detailed meanings of what they were going to do, why they were going to do this. They just thought they were going to be successful with this ritual. But was it a murder? No. Was it suicide? No. It was just a ritual gone horribly wrong. We cannot comment on that. All the conclusion they came to was this was some sort of shared psychosis. All of them just believed as a family in Lalit. No matter what he told, they went through the plan. None of them questioned it. Now that stuck with me. How could there be no one in the family? A family of 11 members. How did not one person question this decision? All of them went through it. Now, I was very obsessed with the story. The day I heard this, I did not sleep that night. I sat researching on and on and on about this. My mom was really concerned for my health. She was like, "What are you doing?" This was the first story that introduced me to my favorite podcast right now, the Desi Crime Podcast. Now, before I leave, I would like to leave you all with one question to ponder upon. Do you really know your friends, your family, or your neighbors? Or do you think you know them? Thank you. Over to the TMOD, Rohan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kanishka, for this bone-chilling tale. I'd like to call upon our next speaker for the day, Toastmaster Binitha. But I'd like to first call her evaluator of the day, Toastmaster Saanvi, who loves to eat biryani. Please welcome Toastmaster Saanvi, everyone.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rohan. Greetings, Toastmasters and guests. Yeah, that's the energy. And a very warm welcome to my target speaker, Toastmaster Binitha. Toastmaster Binitha will be attempting her L1P3, that is Level 1 Project 3, in the pathway Visionary Communication. The purpose of this speech is for the speaker to utilize voice modulation and understand body language and use it in favor of their speech. Timer, please note that the speech timing is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best, Toastmaster Binitha. I know you'll rock it. Back to the TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Saanvi. I'd like to now call upon Toastmaster Binitha who says she does not have the brain cells to write a proper intro. I'd like to welcome Toastmaster Binitha onto the stage. Toastmaster Kanishka. Coconut chutney to college prayer. Coconut chutney to college prayer. Toastmaster Binitha.
எரும மாடு மணி 8 ஆச்சு ஸ்கூலுக்கு டைம் வந்து எழுந்துக்க மாட்டியா அம்மா 5 நிமிஷம் ஐ ஜஸ்ட் ஸ்டார்டட் ட்ரீமிங் அபௌட் ஷாருக் கான் 5 நிமிஷத்துல ஸ்கூலே மூடிடுவாங்க if you're wondering what just happened well this is a lovely beautiful chaotic conversation I have with my lovely mother every single day now don't get me wrong my mother loves me all right but it's still that generally people wake up to the sounds of alarms or even knocking on the doors or even a phone call. But see, in my family, we wake up to the sounds that happen in a sacred place called the kitchen. I don't know for what joy my mother uses that broken mixer to make that coconut chutney. I don't know what she puts in that coconut chutney that gives me the horrendous sound that wants me to wake up and give up on life. Now, don't even get me started with my dad. How many of your dads watch the news? See? Okay, how many of your dads watch the news at 4 a.m.? Well, mine does, unfortunately, right? You wake up and you listen, breaking news. Petrol prices have increased. Salman Khan has found a new hobby. Now, what is the most annoying part is that he watches the same news in NDTV, BBC News, Kalingna TV, Vijay TV, Gemini TV, all TVs. Okay, what I don't understand is that why is he watching the same news in different languages? Till now, I have no idea why he does that, by the way. And that is not even the worst part. It is when they resort to the greatest choice of weapon. When I say the greatest choice of weapon, it is the greatest choice of weapon. Switching off the fan. You see, when that happens, I just don't wake up, right? I wake up and get myself ready for battle. That's how I should be mentally prepared so that I could face what's about to come. So this is the gist of my everyday morning, right? How many of you have siblings? That's unfortunate. Okay, so I do as well, right? I'm not sure, but in every household, siblings fight over that one bathroom. Okay, there might be 100 bathrooms or even 3-4 bathrooms in your house, but they will fight over that one bathroom. Okay, so my brother and me, we do the same thing, right? So what he does is that he, being a sneaky bastard, he walks into the bathroom the moment I wake up. So when he reaches the school at 8:10, I reach by 8:20, right? Obviously I'm late. So what do? Guess what I did? I made all the watchmen as my friends. I'll be like, Anna, teacher they will not let me in. They will bang me on my floor. Please let me in. CCTV, just go inside. Make sure the CCTV doesn't see you. Why would I care if CCTV sees me or not? I just go inside. So this is what happens, you see. And unfortunately, I'm also one of those people where your house is right next to your school, like opposite. That is not even the worst part. And the fact that the entirety of the teachers know that you live here is the unfortunate part. See, obviously, I'll face the consequences, right? But let me tell you, my mother was also the victim in this. My teacher casually calls my mom. She's like, Binitha, Amma, I actually left my lunchbox near your house. Can you please come and get it to this gate so that I can just get it from you? Or, no, actually there is a Xerox center nearby. Get me this color printout. No, it's very costly in school. See, my mom has to do it. Okay, I don't mind because it's my teacher. She has to face it. What I don't understand is that why I should be the delivery guy in this circus. So I need to go to the gate and I need to come back and I need to give it to the teacher. I was basically the Zepto and the Dunzo guy before it even came into existence, right? So this is how it happened. And let me start with one more thing, my house. See, my house was not just my house. It was a lobby. It was a waiting room. It was basically a bus stand extension. Okay. One fine day, I was doing something very unhinged in my house, right? And someone randomly walks into my house. Apparently, he knows me. And he just walks. He doesn't even talk to me. He goes like, Auntie, my bus driver left me and went. My father is coming. Can I please stay in your house for 10 minutes? How do you expect me to say no to that? I didn't. So he came inside, he sat in my house. It's fine if he even sits, okay. He ate all my snacks. One. All right. Second, I knew what was going to happen. My mom starts asking, what is your mathematics marks? What is your science marks? And by mistake, if he gets 1 or 2 marks more than me, gone. My daughter is useless. She is one lazy woman who doesn't even get out of her bed. She doesn't even know how to sweep the floor. Well, I don't have any answers to that question. But now that I think about it, right, no matter how many times I forget my lunchbox, no matter how many times I was being complete mess, and no matter how many times I forget my socks and my ties, my mom was always there, right? And she never gave up on me. She never gave up that she made sure I ate dosa and coconut chutney 365 days a year. But now that I'm in hostel, I don't know if I should say this, but I kind of miss her coconut chutney. I still don't know what she puts in that, but yeah, it just kind of stuck with me. And yeah, like I said, how many times I forget my records, no matter how many times I forget Indian maps and world maps, the biggest concern back then, she would always just walk up to the gate and just give it to me. All I had to do was just call my friends' phones, through my friends' phones, like, Amma, please come and give this to me, or else I'll get screwed by my teacher. She'll come. Even though she has innovative ways of scolding me in different ways, she'll still be there. And yeah, so from a time where I used to wake up with my mom screaming at me, to now where I wake up to the sound of the college prayer, it's funny how times go very quickly. And although I don't need my mom, to wake me up by screaming at me, I wish I did. Back to the TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Binitha, for this comedic life experience. I'd like to next call upon our next speaker, Toastmaster Aaryan. But first, I'd like to call upon his evaluator, Toastmaster Pranav, to the stage. Toastmaster Pranav says he is on a quest to evolve from absolute nonsense to, oh no, it makes sense. I'd like to call upon Toastmaster Pranav to the stage.
Greetings, Toastmasters, and a special greeting to my target speaker, Toastmaster Aaryan. Toastmaster Aaryan will be attempting his L1P3 in the pathway of leadership development. The objective of Toastmaster Aaryan's speech is to have a speech which involves voice modulation and effective usage of body language. Timer, please do note that the speech timings are from 5 minutes to 7 minutes. With that, I am glad that you have chosen to make a move to come back onto the stage. Hope your speech goes well. Thank you, and over to the TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pranav. I'd like to now call upon Toastmaster Aaryan, who says he is here for the vibes. Distance, Toastmaster Aaryan. Toastmaster Aaryan, distance.
Oh, it feels good to be back, man. It's been a while. I know he said that he's glad that I'm back on the stage. I was not dead. I was just, doing what he's doing now, not too long ago. But distance. What distance am I talking about? Right? Is it, what? Huh? No, not long distance. I'm not even capable of that. So the distance I'm talking about is not speed into time or long distance or anything like that. The distance I'm talking about is when you distance yourself from absolutely any situation in your life and then find it hilarious. That has happened to me more times than I can count in the last month alone. Right? Now, let me give you an example. Right now, by the end of these 7 minutes, people who don't know me here or know me a little bit lesser, they will make some observation about me. And then you'll meet me outside the meeting, and your conclusion will be that your observation is wrong. Because I'm a completely different person outside, right? I save everything for the stage, even though I come to the stage biannually, but I do save everything for the stage. Now, when it comes to observations, right? I was with one of my friends not too long ago, and we were just walking. He's 2 years younger to me, and we were just walking. He came to my apartments to hang out after a long time, and he was like, "So, third year, found anyone?" I'm like, that's the first thing he asked me, right? "Have you found anyone?" I was like, "No, of course not. I mean, look who you're talking to." So he said, "Come on, there must be someone." And I just said, "There is someone. I just haven't met them yet," right? Because they're already there. I just don't know who they are. So, and I probably will never know either. But the point is, I like to convert anything that I don't like to answer into a humorous joke so that the person gets the answer and I also feel less bad about myself. So the point of distance is, let me walk you through another example. Movies, dramas, shows, I watch all of them. Too much, in fact, right? My screen time is too much for the phone to calculate. So the shows that I mainly watch, they're of one genre, romance. Why? Not because I am, capable of it. By no means am I capable of it. Huh? Yes, thank you. Now, it's a general rule of thumb that you are attracted to something you can't have. And I can't have that. So I'm attracted to it. So when I was please stop. When I'm watching these shows and movies and whatnot, there's always this one pattern, right? There's a show. It's a Japanese show. It's called Hana Yoridango. The translation is Boys Over Flowers. If you haven't watched it, I strongly recommend it. In simple terms, it's like any other show. There's a stinking rich guy, and there's this girl who takes admission in a school. They both fight, they make up, they fight, they make up, they fight, and they make up again. And then they fight, and it goes to season 2. So that's basically what happens, right? Now, if you can give me one example of any relationship that anyone's ever been in, I don't know if this is a loner crowd or what it is, but if anyone has ever been in, or maybe you know your friends who have been in relationships, this does not happen. Nothing like this happen. If they tell you it's a lie, okay, it does not happen. I will leave the meeting if that happens, okay, because it's too picture perfect. It's like saying that, for example, I go to watch a movie, like if I go to watch a romantic movie and then I decide to try some tactics, it's like me watching Karate Kid and then going out to fight a black belt. I'll get my, I don't, I'll violate an SAA rule, so I don't want to say that phrase. But you get the point. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. Instead of you feeling bad about it, convert it into humor. Distance yourself. There's this wonderful quote by Charlie Chaplin that says, life is a tragedy in close-up and comedy in long shot. That long shot does not refer to a time period explicitly. It refers to you distancing yourself. If you've logged into AUMS, there's a quote by Amma. The same quote, okay? The quote says the same thing. Everything happens spontaneously when you distance yourself from your mind. Okay, I'm not an advocate or a baba to preach on that point, but the term distance here refers to that. Okay, it doesn't refer to anything which you can see or anything which you can touch or hug or kiss or whatever. It's something which you have to attempt to do so that you don't feel bad about yourself in that situation. And it's perfectly okay to feel bad, right? But if your relationship is not, if you're in a relationship, there's two ways it can go, according to me, right? If it's going good, great. If it's going bad, then there's a degree of how bad it's going. Is it like, for example, is it like Bangalore traffic that doesn't move after 40 minutes when you sit? Or is there a pothole every 4 centimeters? So by the time you reach home, you've smacked your head on top of the auto and you've lost half your memory. If it's like that, try again or just, accept it's you, break up, I don't know, do something about it. But if it's going good, good for you, embrace it. But the whole point of this is, if there's something wrong, don't run away from it, embrace it and move on. Now, there's also an observational side which I've observed in media, right? How many of you have watched or ever heard about the new Formula One movie? Oh, great. Have you seen it? So let me explain this in simple terms. For those of you who don't know the technicalities of Formula One, there's something called a red flag, which is exactly what you think it is. And there's something called, so essentially there's points, right? Every time you finish, if you finish bad, you get no points. If you finish good, you get more points. There's this driver called, I don't know what his driver's name is, but his actor's name is Damson Idris. He crashed 24 times in 24 races. And at the end of the season, he got a deal from Mercedes. You tell me how that makes sense. I don't have a driver's license yet. If he deserves a seat, I deserve a seat there. I don't even have a driver's license yet. So when my dad really pressured me that, beta, get a driver's license. Otherwise, you need to be able to, you'll experience freedom. That's what my cousins say, and this and that and blah, blah. But when I looked at that movie, instead of feeling bad, I was like, okay, there's idiots like that as well. So whenever you come across a situation that you feel like, oh man, I could be doing better, or if you compare yourself with anyone and be like, he or she is doing better than me, distance yourself, zoom out to a satellite view, and laugh about it. Because it's scientifically proven that laughter is literally the best medicine, right? So I met my friend again, the same friend in the beginning, and I told him, how about you? Have you got any relationship? I haven't spoken to him since. Anyway, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aaryan, for this very interesting take on relationships, to say the least. I'd like to next call upon Toastmaster Vamsi for his speech. But before that, I'd like to invite his evaluator, Toastmaster Shivansh, who says he is surviving life. On to Toastmaster Shivansh.
I hope I'm audible. I'm not sure if I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay, I'm sorry I won't be able to switch on my camera. I'm kind of traveling right now. So,
sure.
Good evening to everyone, especially to my target speaker, Toastmaster Vamsi. So now Toastmaster Vamsi is attempting his L1P4 in the pathway presentation mastery. The purpose of this project is to applying feedback and serve as a speech evaluator during a club meeting. So best of luck to Toastmaster Vamsi. I hope you do well. Timer, please note that the timing limits are 5 to 7 minutes with a buffer of 30 seconds. Over to you, Toastmaster Rohan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shivansh. I'd now like to call upon our next speaker, Toastmaster Vamsi, who says he's battling scars and boo-boos. On to Toastmaster Vamsi.
All right. So the title of the speech is Battle Scars and Boo Boos. As a kid, I had one superpower, and that was the ability to drop everything. So I dropped everything that I could reach out. I dropped plates, mugs, glasses, and every time I'd hold on to something, you could see a look of fear in my mom's eyes. Not because she thinks I drop it, because she knows I would, right? It got so bad at a point that even when we had guests over and she'd bring out the fancy cutlery and the glassware, I'd still get that steel plate because she had to make sure I wouldn't drop it, right? So for a few years, this continued, and then slowly, I dropped the habit of slipping things, and it converted into me ramming into things, right? So let me take you back to a time when I was 6 years old. So just to give you a bit of context, this is me and my friend Karthik. Me and my friend Karthik were like the last two brain cells during our exam. You have no idea why we're there, you have no idea what we're doing, but we're gonna do something stupid. So we had a plan. We were gonna try and puncture a vehicle. Why? I don't know. So that's what we did. Like little maniacs, we laid stones on the road onto the way into my apartment. And out of nowhere, a two-wheeler approaches. So I did the first thing that came to my mind. I ran like I was crazy. And I rammed into a pillar head first. The scenes that ensued was just chaos. There was blood everywhere. And I couldn't feel anything. The adrenaline took over. I was just there bleeding out. This uncle, he started panicking, right? It was a 6-year-old who was bleeding out from his head. So he tried to take me home. But I didn't want to go home. And the reason for that is I was scared my mom would scold me and not send me down to play again, right? But she took care of me. She washed the wound. And that day I got 8 stitches. And she, even today, she still reminds me that on every flare, on every stair, there's a drop of blood, and she calls it the trail of shame, right? So you think I learned my lesson by now? Well, not really. Fast forward to 2 years later. This time around, we were running in my friend's house like little crazy caffeinated monkeys, right? And in his house, there was a mandir on the wall, a puja mandir, with a sharp corner. So I think you know where this is going. Again, I ram my head into it. But this time on the other side. Why? Balance, right? So again, it's the same thing. His mom starts freaking out. His grandmom starts freaking out. His dad is freaking out. I couldn't feel a thing. This time instead, I had an ice pack with me. I was sitting on that sofa and I was laughing. I was giggling to myself for no apparent reason. They probably thought I was crazy. It figures, right? So now moving on to the coconut incident, right? This is a bit strange, but yeah. So I grew up in an apartment where there were a lot of coconut trees around. So small little coconuts would fall out. They were these tiny green coconuts, and they were really fun to play with. I shouldn't be playing with them, but still I did. And I fling them around like they were cricket balls. So this one time, when I threw the coconut, it nailed my friend at the back of his head. And I felt very bad because he broke down. We were all kids, right? He broke down, he started crying. And as karma has it, 3 days later, when I was sitting under the tree, a coconut fell on my head this time, right? So before I like to talk about the last and the final injury or the finale, I just like to mention that when you think of injury or when you think of an accident, all you think of is the blood, the wound, the scab, the knee scrape, whatever it is. But I think of it as something which I laugh over, even though I shouldn't. It's not a laughing matter, but it's silly, right? And that's what a childhood's supposed to be like. So this time I was 4. I was chilling on the floor with my toys around. So I was home alone with only a nephew. He was 15 years old and he was studying, right? So I look at this table. On the table there was a bottle, a bright yellow bottle. It looked very nice. On the label there were lemons, flowers, mint. For some reason it looked appetizing. And all I wanted to do was drink it. So I did. Turns out it was Lysol. As a kid, I drank Lysol. I was hospitalized for 2 days and soon understood to not trust random drinks lying around the house, right? And before I like to conclude, I'd like to give one little shout out to my mom. You see, the thing about raising kids, it's very different when you talk about a girl and when you talk about a guy. When you talk about a girl, it's about giving her a happy childhood, giving her toys to play with, and just letting her enjoy, right? With a guy, there's only one single motive: keeping the little monkey alive. And I think my mom did a great job at that. So here I am after sustaining all these injuries and all these tiny little accidents. And I think that this chaos is something which made my childhood a bit more special. So I'd say just watch out, maybe don't hit a tree or a wall. So yeah, cheers to all the bandages, the mugs I've dropped, the Lysol I drank, and all the stitches I got. Thank you. Back to Toastmaster Rohan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vamsi, for teaching us to never drink Lysol ever. Now, I'd like to call upon our final speaker for the day, Toastmaster Arpita. But before that, I'd like to introduce her evaluator for the day, Toastmaster Sanidhya. Toastmaster Sanidhya Sharma has been a passionate Toastmaster for around 3 years, a final year BTech student at Amrita School of Engineering. He is an LDP graduate and also a pathbreaker. In the 24 to 25 program year, Sanidhya earned the title of District ISE Runner-Up and also the Division F Runner-Up in both table topics and evaluation contests. He is currently serving as the Area F3 Director. Say this and then you can say. So this was his formal intro. But as he is one of us for today, he's just that one oldie of the club, sitting in the audience, judging us all for everything we do. Please welcome Toastmaster Sanidhya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rohan. Greetings, everyone, and a very special greetings to my target speaker for the day, Toastmaster Arpita. Today, Toastmaster Arpita is delivering her Level 3 Project 1 in the pathway of strategic relationships. The purpose is to develop and practice a personal plan to build connections through networking. She should also talk about some aspects of her personal networking experience. I'm sure she'll give a very informative speech today, and I hope you rock it. Back to the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Rohan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sanidhya. Now I'd like to call upon Toastmaster Arpita, who describes herself as a quiet observer, a curious creator, and someone who feels deeply, sometimes a little too deeply. Please welcome Toastmaster Arpita. Stranger danger, a myth or a fact? Toastmaster Arpita.
So before I start my speech, I want to tell a small thing which I wish I would have told it way before for myself when I was young. That is, you don't have to be really brave to start something new. It's just that one small thing which takes you. So it was a bright Sunday morning, and I was invited to one of this beautiful visual arts exhibition, which was held in Mumbai. And I was there, quite there. So basically what happens in this whole exhibitions are, the artists, the real artists who have invested their whole time are present here talking about how do they even do this, or what ideas do they get, or how the color theory works, everything about it. And basically I was invited there because, yeah, I mean, I did work as an intern, and then those people recommended me here, and I was invited there. There was only me. I could only sense myself over there. I entered the room, and there was complete quiet. I mean, everyone was talking to each other, and no one was focusing on me. I was in the corner thinking about, oh, I should go and network. What if they'll think something ill about me? What if I don't seem interesting? What if I have nothing to speak? And to be very honest, it's not like, it's not a very brave move to, just go and like expose yourself or try to be really fake. But then the only thing which mattered to me after calming myself down was to create an impact, or to just talk to them in a personal level rather than the boring professional questions. So what I did is calm myself down, because as a hypersensitive person I am, people might think that being hypersensitive is nothing but you cry very easily, or let it be you cry or you sense everything so deeply. But that's not the only thing which you go through. There are many things which you go through. There are antennas going here and there. Like how in Spider-Man, he always has this alarms on his head about the danger. It was the same thing. I could sense that shimmers on the shoulders people would have, or a glance of the people, whether it can be a warmth or a dismissal. Staying there, calm, overthinking about all this, looking at the surroundings around me, I could only sense anxious thoughts. But then I step back, bring my rational mind here, and I just think, this is the only chance I get to talk to people whom I can relate to. This is the only chance I get to express myself. And yeah, I've fought for this. I did talk to my mom, hear a lot of taunts of, wasting my time. But here I am to be something which I really feel happy about after a really, really long time. And what I do, nothing very brave. I just move around the whole exhibition, see all those arts, or see all those visualizations, whatever they create. And so I just divide all of this into small, tiny experiments. So the first experiment which I did was, I just saw this picture, which I'll present it to you here. I'm really sorry. Oh, there's no connection. Never mind. So the one picture which I was talking about, it was a cloudy presentation, which is about the visual. Was it connected? Wait, I'm sorry. So this whole story, sorry. So what happened here, I just want to tell you here. So there was a white background with full of clouds and the sea. Basically, the artist talks about, what he talks about in this thing is nothing but the theory of entropy. And the clouds, they are completely disorganized, and, he's just enjoying the skies as well as the ocean down there. And I didn't do anything. I had so many thoughts in my head going on, that how should I ask them professionally? Instead of asking something which is very professional, that, oh, what tool did you use? Or what did you actually do? Instead, I just asked one thing, that this reminds me of something. This reminds me the theory of entropy, where they displayed it really well in Tare Zameen Par. And for God's sake, that one small thing stacked him up. He was so engrossed into talking, he was so engrossed about talking the whole story about how he created the whole art piece was amazing. The next thing, what I do is I walk into a new setup, where I think it has taken a lot of efforts for this artist to paint or like create something which looks real but it's not real. Something which is really very hard to draw it on an iPad because it's very slithery. And what I do, instead of asking again what tools do you use, or I just ask that how long did you take to do this? Now that is very personal. It's so personal that people would, people would, it would just like trigger them and then they would be also engrossed into this. Third experiment, and yeah, he talked about the whole thing that, how did he take, how slowly did he take, and how was his journey throughout. Now, networking about all this, the third experiment, what I could take back to me was it was not only about exchanging the business cards. It was not only about exchanging, the normal talks. What I took back was the same emotions. I could feel that I had that real sense of, being an artist, or I could just sense that how creative they were and how creative you can be if you just spend a little amount of time on yourself. Now, to make up a conclusion, I just want to say that it really doesn't take a long, or a very brave move to just, talk about something. It just takes that one step to go ahead and like speak about your true emotions, whatever you feel about that one particular moment. And that leads you to just boasting up a conversation. Thank you, and back to the TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Arpita, for this enriching session. Now, Frodo and Sandalf set forth on a perilous journey, traversing the most iconic and treacherous landscapes of far Earth, from the lush valleys of Rivendell to the shadowed woods of Lothlorien. Side by side, they braved storms, orcs, and doubts. But at the bridge of Khazad-dûst, fate demanded a price. Sandalf, in an act of selfless courage, stood his ground against the fearsome Balrog of Dead Air, sacrificing himself so Frodo's journey could continue. Alone now, with the weight of the one speech heavy on his shoulders, Frodo trudged on through months and months of hardship, through the barren lands of low confidence and fires of self-doubt. He finally stood at the edge of Mount Doom, ready to cast the cursed speech into the flames from whence it came. But what happens next? Where does the speech burn? Does Frodo falter? Is Sandalf truly gone? Stay tuned, because this meeting is just getting started. Timer, do we have time for a 5-minute break? Okay, thank you. This meeting is now on a 5-minute break. Thank you. This brings us to the end of today's break. And we seem to be having some technical issue. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Yeah, it works.
Hello, sorry for the inconvenience caused. I request everyone to please settle down. Now, Frodo journeys alone, weary but unyielding, as he slowly scales the jagged slopes of Mount Doom. Every step is a battle. He evades killer spiders lurking in the shadows, outwits orcs patrolling the cliffs, and endures the relentless pursuit of the Dark Lord's minions. But at last, breathless and battered, he reaches the summit. Yet, before the final moment, before he can cast the one speech into the fire, he must face one last challenge. A test, not of power, but of resilience and of growth, of everything he's learned along the way. And just like Frodo, we too must now pause, reflect, and face our own test. It is time for the evaluation segment of our meeting, a moment to gauge how far we've come and how far we can grow even stronger. To lead us through this final climb, I'd like to invite our general evaluator, Toastmasters Somesh, to take us forward.
Thank you, TM Rohan. Now for calling upon the first speech evaluator, Toastmaster Amrith Kaur, for evaluating TM Yashas. To Toastmaster Amrith Kaur. Toastmaster Amrith Kaur, can you hear us? Okay. We are not able to reach Toastmaster Amrith's call for now, so we are moving on. So I'd like to call upon Toastmaster Reha to evaluate Toastmaster Kanishka.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Toastmaster Kanishka. I like to start with, you said a real story, and it was a very thrilling story. That is a very good thing, I can say. And the hand gestures you showed, and the stage movement was also amazing. The eye contact also is very good. And the prop use, the diaries, it's also good. And the expression you gave every time you spoke are really amazing. So and the parts you used voice modulationers, none of them, then none of them. I mean, yeah, that one, there are some parts where used voice modulation, but I think there are some parts with lack of voice modulation, like they were signs of trouble. You can say they were signs of trouble. Coming to the improvement part, you can speak your personal content from your life. That one I can, and I think the introduction was too little. I mean, you don't said he. I mean, you didn't said who Bhavesh was and about the family and the thing. Yeah. I mean, coming your project level. Project is to use more voice modulation and body language, right? The topic, I think it's too weak. I mean, you try to use the voice modulation, body language, but I think you tried your best. But I don't think the topic is the good for this thing. That's the suggestion for me. Yeah, thank you. Back to general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Reha. Now for my evaluation for Toastmaster Kanishka. She started with a lot of nostalgia about us hearing horror stories from our grandparents and everyone. That was good. And the way her body expression, her voice modulation, and even the expression told us the gravitas of the speech. So that was very, very good. And she even used the word of the day, so claps everyone. And her outro, which made us to question her all, do like we really know everyone? I mean, that's sent chills to my bone. So yeah, that's my evaluation for Toastmaster Kanishka. Now for her evaluator, Toastmaster Reha, she could have made it a bit more, structured, telling the pros and the cons. Other than that, it was fine. So now for the next evaluator, I call upon Toastmaster Saanvi for evaluating Toastmaster Binitha.
Wake up, wake up. It's 6:20. That is how I wake up in my house every day. There's nothing called as an alarm. I wake up to my mom yelling at me and to listening to her make my lunch that I bring to college. So for me, the speech that Toastmaster Binitha delivered was listening to her say my story. So kudos to you on the relatability aspect, Toastmaster Binitha. For your evaluation, I'll be following a pattern. I'll first be coming with all the parts that I liked, the hits of your speech. Then we'll be talking about parts for improvement. and then a challenge or two for your future speeches. The parts that I liked. Your introduction was extremely catchy. As soon as you came onto the stage, you had everybody's attention. It was not just the people sitting in the front row or the people that you were making eye contact with. Every single one in the room was hooked. They were all listening and they were a part of your story with you. Kudos to you on that. Your humor was subtle but on point. Congratulations on that. Now, coming to parts for improvement and the purpose of your speech today. First thing that I noticed was your introduction was catchy, but it did not have the kind of structure or stability that it could hold your whole speech together. So you can work on a more stable introduction is what I would say, something that has the power of taking your speech forward. Next thing, when we come to the structure of your speech. When you were telling us how you spend your day, what happened was something that I felt was you just clicked that, oh, I remember this, now I'll talk about this. And oh, I remember that, so now I'll talk about that. Instead of that, what you can do is you can have clear flow of ideas. So since this is a prepared speech and you have sufficient time to analyze how you are going to deliver the content, make sure that each part flows into the next one so that the audience has a good flow throughout the speech and they can stay connected with you. Another thing was the pacing that you used during your speech. At some points, it was amazing because you were able to use it very well with your voice modulation. But sometimes you just went way too quickly, or there were pauses where pauses were not needed. So you can focus on utilizing pauses more efficiently. Apart from that, it was a wonderful speech. And as a challenge for your next speech, you can think about using a prop, structuring your speech better. And for the purpose of your speech, your voice modulation was amazing. Your body language usage could have been better. What I noticed was you were using the pacing method that most speakers tend to use, walking around. Instead of that, try making your movements more thoughtful so that they align with what you're speaking. And just a little bit of improvement and this already good speech will be ahead. Back to our general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Saanvi. To evaluate Toastmaster Saanvi on her evaluation, the structure she used was very good. She helped Toastmaster Binitha to tell what was the pros, the cons, areas of improvement, and where she got done better in the stage presence, and etc. Now my evaluation for Toastmaster Binitha, she started off with the most relatable thing to me, that's waking up in a Tamil household. So yeah, kudos to that. And yeah, dosa and coconut chutney till the end of time. Thank you for that. Again, still relatable. Yeah, the pacing, as she told, like the pauses was inconsistent, and sometimes you went too fast. Sometimes the flow was very, very inconsistent. Other than that, it was totally fine. Now, to call upon the next speech evaluator, I call upon Toastmaster Amrith Kaur to evaluate Toastmaster Yashas.
Thank you, General Evaluator. You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so good evening, Toastmasters and guests, and particularly the speaker, Toastmaster Yashas. Your project had two purposes. One is writing a speech with a detailed purpose. And second, writing a well-organized speech on any topic. I would say that you fulfilled the project objective and you did extremely well on both the areas. So let's go through it one by one. One is writing a speech with a defined purpose. So I would say that your speech had a clear call for action, a clear message that is to step out of your comfort zone. The second is writing a well-organized speech on any topic. And a well-organized speech generally has three components to it: great opening, body, an engaging body, and a clear closing. Your opening was extremely interesting, and you made it engaging by asking a question that have you been in any zones, like ozone or danger or friend zone. And you chose a beautiful topic out of all these danger zones, and which is comfort zone. You know, in today's life, many lives are not affected so much because of the depleting ozone layer or the depleting friend zones, but by us remaining in the comfort zone, and the comfort zone keep growing. So that is what, so in terms of choosing the purpose for this speech, or the topic for this speech, kudos to you. You did really, really well. Moving on to the body had two stories and a very clear structure. You started with one story and you moved on to the next and concluded with your closing. The great part was that both the stories are from your life. So they are your lived experiences. So that made you extremely comfortable on the stage. You also, then the closing where it had a clear call for action. So in terms of organizing the speech with a clear opening, body and closing, you did extremely well. The third part where I felt that you excelled at is the body language. You continuously through the speech used hand gestures and used the stage to the optimum. Gave a great vivid description of, you know, that little boy, how tall, the cap, the shorts, you know, the jump when with the hand gesture. In the second part of your story where your friend raised your hand, you know, all of those were done very well. In fact, the small square you drew with your hand that was done very well. Like that was literally and figuratively done well. So yeah, now moving on to what I think you could work, you want to work on, you could do better, is that I felt that uh, we understood that, you know, from your stories that what happens when you come out of the comfort zone. However, I was since it is topic with purpose or speech with purpose, it would have been nice to know the other side of the coin as well. Like, what are the consequences when you get stuck in a comfort zone? So maybe just another small story or another anecdote from your life which you had to overcome. And then these two stories would have made much more relevant. So a little glimpse of that would have been a great addition to your speech. And to challenge yourself, I guess you could have included a bit of vocal variety, and which is, although this speech doesn't, the project guidelines do not call for that. However, with your comfort level and the way you spoke, I believe you can push yourself for vocal variety when you said something like your coach said jump, like, you know, so having a really stern voice which a military guy would have been interesting. And one another thing which I felt is I will share the title of your speech later, the magical zone. I'm a little confused that whether the comfort zone is a magical zone or the out of comfort zone is a magical zone. So yeah, a little clarity on that. All in all, if I would like to summarize the evaluation. I think you did great job, and you excelled at writing a well-structured speech with a clear purpose. You had great comfort level on stage, and you used your hand gestures almost throughout the speech. Very, very well done on that. And there were multiple elements of humor. So we could laugh and we could relate to the speech. A little area of work which can take your speech a notch above is when asking for a call for action, you might want to give both sides of the story, both sides of the coin, so that so the message hits hard. And introducing vocal variety in your speech. Uh, at the end, I must say that I love your resolute to live a life out of comfort zone and aspiring others to do the same. All the very best for your future speeches.
Thank you, Toastmaster Amrit Kaur, for that evaluation. Now, for evaluating Toastmaster Amrit Kaur, the way she detailed her evaluation to Toastmaster Yashas was, I guess, very, very well structured, and it should have helped him a lot to improve on it. To tell about your evaluation, I guess if you keep your points, if you structured your points and your sentences more briefly or better, I think it will come within the stipulated time more, so that it comes with the stipulated time. Other than that, nothing, because it was a very, very well detailed evaluation of it. Now, moving on to Toastmaster Yashas, I loved how you started off your speech when you had two characters coming around and having a speech off, and how I need to. And this story basically tells how like a character arc development. Basically, it's just that, like how like swimming helped you to get on your fears, and how that swimming coach, being an army, so just pushed you into the water. Other than that, then you even told us how tab and how it helped you to like get out of your fear and take up more speeches on the stage. I guess it'll even help the guests out here. So thanks for that. Other than that, it was a very, very well written speech, and you delivered it really good. Yeah. So moving on to the next one, I call it on Toastmaster Pranav to evaluate Toastmaster Aaryan. Toastmaster Pranav, everyone.
Greetings, Toastmasters. Hi, Aaryan. Aaryan, I'm really unfortunately speaking this. I'm sorry to inform that you will have to give your L1 P3 again. Ha! Psych! I'm just joking. See, that's voice modulation, something that you were supposed to do. And although you did, let's say you can improve on it always. So for my evaluation today, let's follow the standard sandwich structure. Your good parts, suggestions to improve, and challenges you can have in your next. Good parts, you had a very friendly voice when you started the meeting. When you started your speech, it was very energetic. It was really, encouraging and warm, so that people can actually sit and listen to it. Second, this was an example that I took from your speech. You can give me one example when you were mentioning your friend and your conversation. You had used this. It was good. There was a peak in your voice, which, if someone had drifted off, they would have come back. And now let's move on to the suggestions that you could use. You could control the amount of time that you were speaking. You had gone above the time limit, so you can control that. You can try rehearsing your speech once more, which can help you stay in time limit. And another thing was around 6 minutes in your speech, your voice, which was very warm, which was very open and energetic, started to dull down, and people started getting lost. And that is the place where people usually get lost, because once you cross 6 minutes, people usually lose track. So if you are able to bring back your energy into your speech at that time, then that would be great. And you also had a conversation between two people. So if you were talking and trying to act out to people, you could have two voice modulations. Like, hey, I'm Aryan's friend, number one, and you being you, normal person. You could also use two different places. And another suggestion would be the walking that you did was more of a panicked walking or a tensed walking. So if you could have a more effective control of body language, like when you're speaking about yourself, stand in one place. And when you talk about your friend, move to another place. And also throughout the speech, you could gradually move, or while showing distance, you could move like that, things like that. And also your hand gestures were kind of through the place because you were showing, I watched them all and stuff, reminding me of Toastmaster Mansi at times. And another suggestion would be that your eye contact was breaking among people. You weren't like giving everybody eye contact, nor was it fixed on a single person. It was kind of in the middle, the gray area where it is not great, or it's not fixed onto one person, or nor is everybody getting an eye contact. It was somewhere in between that. So a challenge for your next speech project would be to have optimal usage of the stage, the suggestions itself, optimal usage of the stage, and you also saw the red card and you try to wrap it out fast. Maybe try practicing once more, and also fix your hand gestures. That's it. Back to the general evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pranav, for the evaluation. And he literally took the words off my mouth because those are the exact points what I wanted to say. So kudos to Toastmaster Pranav on that. Now, for evaluating him, the way he explained where to move, what to do, was very, very informative to Toastmaster Aaryan so that he can improve on his speech. Other than that, the way you structured it, I had no flaws in it. So kudos to that. Yeah, that's it for your evaluation. Now moving on to Toastmaster Aaryan. As he said, like correctly around the 6-minute mark, your speech started to dull down. I think that's why people started to like kind of lose attention. And as soon as the red card was shown, you tend to like rush it out and finish it. So I guess you can work on that more. Other than that, your speech was a bit like many people related to it also, and it was even hilarious because you started criticizing yourself also, like how so that was good. And I really liked the fact you mentioned a point which really stuck on to me, that watching Karate Kid and fighting the black belt is not a good decision. So yeah, I like that. Other than that, kudos to you, and just work on the points which your evaluator told you because it was very well structured. And that, yeah, I guess that's that. Now to call on Toastmaster Sanidhya to evaluate Toastmaster Arpita.
Hello, am I audible?
Okay, so before Toastmaster Aaryan evaluate Toastmaster Arpita, I would like to have Toastmaster Shivansh to evaluate Toastmaster Vamsi.
Yes, hello, am I audible?
Yes, Toastmaster Shivansh.
Yeah, so good evening to everyone again, especially Toastmaster Vamsi. So, regarding Toastmaster Vamsi's speech, his objective is obviously to kind of take a feedback and implement it on the next speech. So I have come with feedback. Some are good, some are the places where he needs improvements, and a few challenges that I'd like to give to him. Now, starting at the start, Toastmaster Vamsi kind of started his speech very abruptly. Even though everyone knew that he was going to start the speech, it didn't feel like the starting of the speech. Instead, it felt like a middle part of a phrase or a sentence being told. So, for that, Toastmaster Vamsi, I'd like to give kind of an advice is that maybe you start your speech with either modulating your voice or with a phrase or a question or something like that, so that you can grab the audience's attention straight away. Coming to your body, what I felt that the content that you had was very strong and you were able to deliver it in a good enough manner. The connection between your content could have been a bit better. You could have connected the dots a bit better, so you could make a string line of a speech or something like that. But it wasn't, bad or anything. It was pretty good. But where I failed to understand that you had a very good title. You had a very intriguing title. Even I was intrigued by it. but I didn't feel that the title translated to the speech perfectly. Maybe you could, for the next time, have a little bit of more understanding with the speech and the title, how they used to connect, as Toastmaster Amrit said before me. And then coming to your vocal variety, so I felt that you weren't modulating your voice enough. There were moments where you could have maybe enacted a scene instead of just telling us the scene, or maybe you could have, you know, took up two roles and kind of played, as I said, enacted. So that was missing from your speech. So that is a challenge I'd like to give, that whenever you give the next speech, try to enact more rather than just tell us. And another thing that I noticed was that throughout your speech, you were using the stage, but not positively. So you walked around the stage, you walked around a little portion in the stage, but you were constantly walking, you were looking down, and you didn't maintain eye contact for most of your speech. Now, that is something that, you should really improve upon. So the major challenge that I'd like to give you for your next speech is, when you're speaking, make sure that you look at your crowds, into the eyes, actually tear into those eyes, and make sure that whenever you speaking or delivering something that you want the crowd to hang on to, emphasize a lot more, so that they know this is the important stuff. They suddenly have their brains turned up listening to you and not being distracted. That's all from my side. Over to the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shivansh, for that evaluation. Now, for evaluating Toastmaster Shivansh, his evaluation was very, very well structured, so that Toastmaster Vamsi will be like Toastmaster Vamsi can use it. And as he mentioned, it was the way he put forward it. Like he mentioned that like the way he walked was the way he walked. Then the way he told his story was very, very good. So thank you, Toastmaster Shivansh, for that. Now, moving on to Toastmaster Vamsi, as Toastmaster Shivansh pointed out, the way you started the speech, even I couldn't follow. Like you just started very abruptly, so even I had to jolt in the moment, like what's going on. And your story was good, like not criticizing that, but the way you told it could have had a bit more life into it, so that it could reach out to people more. And you kept on walking like this and not like you just start telling like that. That time, even if you keep your head up and tell, like people know that you have confidence. Like you're telling your story, like your storytelling. You get my point. Sorry for that. And the one thing which stood out to me is Lysol. How are you even alive, bro? I mean, grateful for that. Thank you. So, yeah, so I think that's all my evaluation for Toastmaster Vamsi. Now for the last evaluation, I call upon Toastmaster Sanidhya for evaluating Toastmaster Arpita.
You don't have to be brave to start, but you have to start to be brave. And today, one girl bravely gave us a message to take the first step. Isn't that the mantra of everything in our life? Just take the first step. And that is what we took away from Toastmaster Arpita's speech today. Can we have a huge round of applause for Toastmaster Arpita? What an amazing speech. You packed your speech with amazing stage usage. Did I see you roaming around the entire place and talking about different segments? Yes, I did. Great stage usage. The biggest plus that you had in your speech today, there was a slight tech problem. The picture didn't show up. But did you stop? You explained the picture to us and we could imagine what the picture actually was. Great work done. Vocal variety, you did try it in some segments of your speech. And you tried to ensure that we get the message up and right. So great work done on that part. Now to give you certain improvements for this particular speech, I'll give you two types of improvements. One for this particular speech and one based on the objectives of your project. Now how you can make this speech a little better. Starting with the most basic thing, eye contact. You're looking down at the stage, shows you're nervous. Try to look into the souls of people so that they get the message that what you're talking about. And the most important part, structure. For this particular speech, the structure was completely messed up. I'll tell you how. This speech felt like one big chunk of talking something, and it was going, sometime it was talking about Spider-Man's senses, and the next segment was you talking about your anxious thoughts, and then the painting exhibition, and then networking. It was everywhere. There was no structure. The only part where it started with the conclusion was when you told, okay, to conclude, I would say this. Structure. The introduction. You came onto the stage, and the first thing you told was, so before I begin my speech, it is, you don't have to be brave to start, right? That could have been the starting line. Why do you have to say that's before I begin my speech? You come onto stage, and there was this amazing line that I saw in your speech that the sun was rising, and then you went on to the exhibition. That was a better introduction opportunity if you had explained about your fear for networking. It was a bright Sunday morning, and there was a little girl battling to talk to people. And then you could have moved on into your speech, talking about the exhibition, talking about how to network and what's not. Now, coming to the point where the objectives were considered. You did talk about your experience, but you didn't talk about the true plan that was needed to network. Hence, to conclude, I suggest you to repeat this project, give this speech again, with following the true objectives of this particular project and giving the exact plan. Otherwise, it was a great speech. All the best for your future speeches. Back to the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sanidhya. I couldn't agree more on that evaluation. Now, for evaluating Toastmaster Sanidhya, I mean, he's who he is, and he always starts with us to like giving up a huge presence, and everyone paid attention to it. So kudos to you for that. And his evaluation, Toastmaster Arpita, mentioned the point very, very detailedly so that she can take the help. So thank you, Toastmaster Sanidhya, for that. Now for Muyo and Toastmaster Arpita. You started off very, very like the quote you said, like you don't have to be really brave to start something new. I was very hooked on to that, and I started paying attention to your speech. But the moment I started like between the speech, I couldn't really connect the dots everywhere so that I would really have the understanding of what the speech is. Other than that, you had a technical glitch. Even though you had it, you came up and explained what the cloudy picture was, and you made every one of us understand what it was. So kudos for you for that. And yeah, just I couldn't really connect the dots of where the story was leading until, as Toastmaster Sanidhya told, the conclusion. So yeah, you can work on that. Other than that, you did a really good job, Toastmaster Arpita. Yeah, back to TMOD, Toastmaster Rohan. Oh, sorry. Now for the tag team report, I call upon Toastmaster Pavithra for the timers report.
Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I'm back with a timer's report. As the timer for today's meeting, I timed all the prepared speeches and the evaluations given by the speakers. I'll start with the prepared speeches. Toastmaster Yashas took about 5 minutes and 29 seconds, which is within the stipulated time. Toastmaster Kanishka took about 7 minutes and 16 seconds, which is within the stipulated time. Toastmaster Binitha took about 6 minutes and 31 seconds, which is within the stipulated time. Toastmaster Aaryan took about 7 minutes and 48 seconds. He crossed the stipulated time. Toastmaster Vamsi took about 6 minutes and 29 seconds, which is within the stipulated time. Toastmaster Arpita took about 7 minutes and 23 seconds, which is within the stipulated time. Now, coming to the evaluations. Toastmaster Amrith took about 7 minutes and 9 seconds. She crossed the stipulated time. Toastmaster Reha took about 2 minutes and 9 seconds, which is within the stipulated time. Toastmaster Saanvi took about 3 minutes and 13 seconds, which is within the stipulated time. Toastmaster Pranav took about 3 minutes and 13 seconds, which is within the stipulated time. Toastmaster Sanidhya took about 3 minutes and 26 seconds, which is within the stipulated time. Toastmaster Shivansh took about 3 minutes and 16 seconds, which is within the stipulated time. Thank you, and over to the General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pavithra. Now I call upon our linguist, Toastmaster Dedeepya.
Hello everyone, I'm back with my linguist report. So firstly, coming to the grammarian's report, the word of the day was used by two people, Toastmaster Rohan and Toastmaster Kanishka. The idiom of the day was used by Toastmaster Pranav. A big round of applause for these people, please. Next time, it would be nicer if more people made an effort to incorporate these into their speeches. And some things that I liked in speeches were, okay, one phrase that cracked me up was when Toastmaster Yashas said, bro, it's not that deep, literally and figuratively, talking about the swimming pool. And this was a smart choice of words for that particular moment. And when the idiom used by Toastmaster Kanishka, which is stopped dead in his tracks, was also really nice. Round of applause, people, please. And for the R counters report, I'm happy to say that there were very less fillers throughout the meeting with no major CRPFs. All of you have done a fabulous job today. Keep it up. And the only point I have is for Toastmaster Vamsi, who repeatedly used the word right after every sentence and phrase. It would be better if you experimented with like different words instead of using the same word over and over again. But other than that, it was a great speech. And that's my report for today. Thank you, and back to the General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dedeepya. Now for evaluating the tag team. TM Pavithra, you told whoever was within the stipulated time or not, and it was very, very clear. So thank you for that. And moving on to Toastmaster Dedeepya, she told, maintaining a grammarian and the R counter, being a linguist is kind of a hard job here because you have to fill out two forms. So kudos to that. And yeah, she even told where people can improve on their speeches and where, so that's good. And she also told like the idioms which was used and the phrases she liked or not. Thank you for that. So I guess that concludes the evaluation. Now, speaking of the meeting started at 4:31, so it was correctly on time. So thank you, SA. And the meeting flow was really was very, very smooth, and everything happened when it was supposed to happen. So I think TMOD should take the applause for that. And even talking about the TMOD for a moment, your storytelling was totally on point and everyone was hooked up on it. Just that, if you could remember names well into then, it'll be really, really good. So back to the TMOD, Toastmaster Rohan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Somesh. Now that the evaluation is over, Frodo too faces his final reckoning. His journey has tested not just his endurance, but his very spirit. Standing at the edge of the fiery chasm, the one speech, forged in ego and perfected in panic, trembles in his hand. Doubts whisper. The weight of every word, spoken and unspoken, passes down on him. But then, a memory of Sandal's sacrifice, of the fellowship that stood by him, of every Toastmaster who inspired him, gives him strength. With one final breath, Frodo casts the one speech into the fire. The mountain trembles, the curse is broken, and in that moment, Frodo no longer just a speaker. He is a storyteller, a leader, a champion of courage and growth. Middle Earth breathes again, the shadows lift, and our journey too finds its purpose. With that, our story draws to a close, but yours is only beginning. I now hand over to the meeting to our presiding officer, Toastmaster Binitha.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rohan. All right, the Google Forms will be released soon in the group. Meanwhile, we have few guests here. So why don't each one of you guys come onto the stage and just 2 lines about how you felt about the meeting. Can we start with Janani, right? Yes, please come on. Claps.
This meeting was very informative for me. I first was very nervous about joining the Toastmasters, but then after hearing to all these speeches, I've decided to come out of my comfort zone and start exploring things. Yeah.
Thank you, Janani. Can we have, yes. Keep the applause going, guys.
My name is Mahadi. Good evening, everyone. And I found the speeches to be really informative, and I was intrigued by how everyone was so involved with the audience and made sure to keep eye contact and talk in clear sentences with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, everyone. Oh, yeah. I came to the meeting hoping I would have a resolute decision by the end of the meeting if I could join or not. But now I'm even more confused because the speeches were too good. I enjoyed all the speeches. And now I'm too scared to think that I won't be able to match the expectations of the standards you guys have set. It's really good work you guys are doing.
Don't worry, we all start the same. Yes. All right, can we have, yes.
First we thought that it will be more like more number of people will be there in here. So me and my friend got a bit shied here to climb to get into the stage. After staying for 2 hours, it's too nice. It's very nice. The meeting was too nice. Yeah, that's it.
I'm glad you enjoyed the meeting. Can we have our last guest, please? A round of applause.
Hi guys, I feel so good for listening the speeches, and I gained some knowledge how to give a speech and by listening the reviews of the reviewers. And thanks.
All right, I thank each of the guests to come to today's meeting, and we hope to see you in the further meetings as well. I think the forms have been released. Please make your votes. Have anyone? One second, we'll be resending the forms. Once he's released the forms. Saturday? What happened? Toastmaster Aaryan, why are you crashing out? Okay, all the guests, you will also be getting a voting form. So you can just choose the best that you would think. The forms have been released again. Please fill it out. Oh, wait. Later, guys. Can I have a raise of hands who and all have filled out the form? Okay. How many more, Somesh? Okay. Did anyone fill the form twice? No, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18? 18. Yeah. I'm so sorry, guys. We'll be sending the forms again. One response, guys, please. Can I get a raise of hands, please? Okay. How many responses? Who else has to give the response? All of you guys are done? Show the results. You guys voted again, right? All of you? Okay, perfect. Okay. Let's start with best of speech evaluators. Well, it's shared between Toastmaster Pranav and Toastmaster Sanidhya. PR, yeah.
Sure. 2.9.
All right. Best of Big Four. Any guesses? Toastmaster Rohan. Thank you. Best of Tag Team. I think this is for the third time. It's chat between Toastmaster Dedeepya and Toastmaster Pavithra for the timer and the linguist. What? Yeah, classic. Okay. Best of prepared speeches. Toastmaster Binitha. I'll drop the mic, man. Thank you so much for attending this meeting, guys. We are coming to a close, and I officially declared this meeting closed. The session is open for networking. I'll see you in the next meeting. Oh, can we all have a photo, please? Can all of you guys come to the stage? Stop recording.